China's unemployed Generation Z are proudly calling themselves the Rat People. A Norwegian man woke up to find a cargo ship in his garden, and scientists made guinea pigs listen to Adele for 7 days, and the results were surprising. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast. I gotcha. Papa, what is Weird AF News? Weird AF News, that's what you listen to after decades of mainstream news has worn you out. China's unemployed Generation Z are proudly calling themselves the Rat People and spending all day in bed. Millions of Gen Z around the world are currently jobless. Did you know that? I sort of got that. They look jobless to me, but that just could be because they live life in their pajamas that I just assumed that they were jobless, because who can live life in their pajamas all day, every day, unless you don't have a job? I mean, if Crocs are your 24/7 footwear, that's not the look of someone who's in the workforce. I'm just saying from what I've witnessed. Okay, we have here a significant chunk of young Gen Zs are currently jobless. And then you have rat people who are taking to social media to celebrate ditching work for a slower life purposefully. Experts say it's a quiet protest against burnout and the current job market. Yeah, it seems like the job market isn't working for them, but it's hard to tell because I'm not out there in the job market. Are there jobs there for them? They're just turning them down because they don't allow them to be on their phone all day, every day? I mean, that could be happening. Well, this article is highlighting a phenomenon that apparently is only going on in China. The millennial era of work hard, play harder has given way to this new trend, in China at least. Gen Zers are proudly calling themselves Rat People. They're spending entire days procrastinating in bed, scrolling on their phones, snoozing, and ordering takeout. Rat People seems like a strange choice. Snoozing and laying around is more of a two-toed sloth thing, I would say. Rats are highly active social creatures, really. All right, well, I guess they're identifying as rats, and that's their freedom. In a most recent video about one of these rats, this lady described her day. She's a girl. She described her day. She woke up at midday, doom-scrolled until 3 p.m., lounged around her house, mostly glued to her iPhone on the sofa, before getting back into bed before 8 p.m. to spend the remainder of her evening switching between napping and scrolling on her phone. She satirically describes her reclusive, low-energy routine as that of a rat, and her videos are racking up hundreds of thousands of likes and inspiring others to follow suit. Wow, she gets quite a following doing nothing. Here I am busting my ass in a closet for very little recognition. Maybe I ought to just turn into a rat and lay around all day. It says many of the rat people comment on her videos. Her lethargic schedule is still too fast-paced, according to some of the rat people. My goodness. One rat person wrote, "You're still too high energy for me, girl. I don't even sit on the sofa. I lie on the bed from the time I wake up and go to the toilet until I have to eat. Then I get up to eat, and then I lie right back down in bed. I can live like this for a week without going out at all or leaving my bed." Wow, unbelievable. Another rat person commented that they only get up to eat once daily, and they can go, quote, several days without washing. Oh, well, you're definitely going to smell like a rat if that's your goal. Despite having a fun new name, it's not the first time China's broken, burned-out youth have taken to a life spent horizontally instead of climbing that corporate ladder. In 2021, Gen Z and young millennials began rejecting China's culture of long hours and hard work by, quote, lying flat. Instead of following the 996 work norm, which is working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, many say they weren't working at all or were doing the bare minimum just to get by. And it's exactly what many Gen Zers are doing with this whole rat people movement. This is their way of protesting the modern workaday capitalistic lifestyle. Back in my day, we did it with dancing. That's how we rebelled. We would find an empty warehouse, take ecstasy, and dance the night away. Dip, 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 dance the night away. I'm the color footloose, I cut loose, kick off your Sunday shoes. A little bit of that, maybe a little maniac, maniac. kind of like that, expressing ourselves through the power of dance, rebelling against the culture with the power of moving our feet and our bodies on chemicals. The real way to do it. It's a lot more fun than just laying down like a rat person. I don't even know staying in bed was an option. Being a rat person was an option. I had no idea you could even do this. I mean, believe me, I've wanted to. I look outside and go, I can't afford anything. I'd like to just go back to bed. Can I do that? Well, apparently I can, and then I'm joining the rat person movement. I am napping in solidarity with the rat people. Now, back to the article. They're talking about how all around the world, Gen Z's hustle rejection is a direct response to a tougher and more demanding job market than ever before in the world. Millennials are the most educated generation in history, with Gen Z closely following behind, yet their financial prospects overall and chances of getting hired are significantly dimmer than those of Gen X graduates. Today, over 4 million American Gen Zers remain jobless. In China, the government has said that as of February, 1 in 6 young people are unemployed. The trend is more than Gen Z disengaging. It's a quiet protest by young people responding to burnout, disillusionment, and a job market that feels both punishing and uninviting. A quote from one Gen Z here says, "When you're endlessly applying for jobs and being ghosted or rejected, it can be incredibly damaging to confidence and mental well-being." Essentially, rather than chasing jobs they see as out of reach, embracing this rat lifestyle in China is a way for young people to reclaim a sense of control over their own lives. Patel, one of the rat people, says, quote, "Well, it's not laziness, it's life and direction fatigue, and opting out of life becomes an attractive option to protect your mental health." Yeah, but who's paying for this? Who's paying for the takeout? Who's paying for the roof over your head? Are they just staying in their parents' house? Are the parents footing the bill? Because that's not okay either. This is a nightmare situation. I don't even know how you solve it. And you know what they're not mentioning in this article is that parents are partly to blame because, there's a certain generation of parents that have completely coddled their children. They misled them into believing that the world they're going to be their oyster. And they can be anything they want to be and do whatever they want, and it's all going to come easy. Everything has been handed to them up to this point where they actually let them leave the household to then start their future, also thinking that the world is going to continue to hand them everything and it's going to be also very easy. And then when they get out there, the shock and awe of a harsh world that really doesn't give a crap about you, a harsh world, the reality which is you are not going to get a free lunch and no one cares about your feelings. And so that's a big factor, in my opinion. I'm not a parent. I'm just going by what I see. And I have friends that have businesses and that have hired Gen Zers, and they all say the same thing. They're on their phone the entire time. They don't want to work hard. They show up in their pajamas, basically. So that's happening too, but the article isn't mentioning it. So I'm just trying to, fill in the blind spots here. But maybe you have an opinion on this, and maybe you're a rat person. I'd love to hear from a rat person. Although, it's probably too much effort for you to send me an email. But if you want to, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. I won't even leave you the phone number because moving your mouth is probably too much. A Norwegian man woke up to find a very large container ship in his backyard. That's right. A man in Norway woke up early Thursday and discovered a large container ship had run aground about a stone's throw away from the side of his house. A stone's throw? Is that an actual measurement in Europe? It's fascinating. Well, you want to walk 5 stone's throws in that direction and take a right. Okay, 5 stone's throws in that direction, and then what? Well, then you want to continue for about 4 stick tosses, and then take a left, and then you'll see it. The well. All right, enough making fun of Europe and their old speaky talkie. This says this man slept through the arrival of the ship in his backyard. So the ship runs aground into his garden and he sleeps through it. I don't know how you sleep through that, but okay. I'm going to guess this Norwegian man had a few cocktails the night before. Isn't it good, Norwegian ship? It says here, for an as yet unknown reason. Well, I'll tell you the reason. The driver also was sleeping. That's the reason. They say as yet unknown reason, this 443-foot NCL Sultan sailed up onto shore just meters from John Helberg's house in a fjord. Fjord, what a funny word. If it's Fjord. Now, ordinarily, I'd be pretty upset at whoever put the F next to the J, but I've come across this word before, so I'm familiar with how to deliver it. It's a fjord, and it's near Trondheim in central Norway. Isn't it good? Norwegian fjord. Now, Johan Hellberg, perfect Norwegian name, Johan Hellberg's house. Johan Hellberg only recently discovered the unexpected visitor when a panicked neighbor who had repeatedly rung his doorbell to no avail gave up and then called him on the telephone. Yeah, I think Johan was throwing him back the night before, as they probably do in Norway. It's a cold place. I would drink a lot as well. When I lived in cold places, I drank a lot. Here's a quote from our guy, Johan Hellberg. He says, "The doorbell rang at a time of day when I don't like to open." Probably same time I don't like to open. At 6 a.m., 7 a.m., I'm not doing it. His neighbor, Jostein Jorgensen, another great Norwegian name, or maybe it's Jostein Jorgensen, said it's a man. I thought it was a lady, Jostein. Jostein Jorgensen is a guy. Jostein says he was roused at around 5 a.m. local time by the sound of a ship heading at full speed toward land, and immediately ran to Hellberg's house. Yeah, 5 a.m. That's the time that Hellberg doesn't get up to answer the door, and I don't blame him. Here's a quote from the neighbor, Jorgenstein. I have no idea what a Norwegian accent sounds like, so I'm just gonna do this. "I was sure that he was outside already, but no, there was no sign of life. I rang the doorbell many times and nothing. It was only when I called him on the phone I managed to contact him, my neighbor, Johan." Several hours later, the massive red and green container ship was still stuck near the wooden house, awaiting to be refloated. Is this something that happens just in his backyard when it's low tide? This can't be the first time this has happened. Was the driver of the container ship drunk as well? I mean, we need to look into these things. Investigations underway. We have a quote from Hellberg, Johan Hellberg, the guy whose garden the ship is in. He says, "Well, it's a very bulky new neighbor, but it'll soon go away. It better go away if it knows what's good for it." Oh, come on, Hellberg. Don't you want some of this property? I mean, the container ship is now on your property. Some of it must belong to you. Figure out what's inside of this damn container ship. It could be something cool. Maybe it's like a container ship full of Porsches, and now Johan gets to keep a few. That'd be really crappy if he opened it up and it was just millions and millions of shoelaces from Vietnam. Or just like hundreds of thousands of spatulas from China. That'd be a terrible prize inside the container ship. Let's keep reading and find out what's inside the ship. The ship reportedly caused damage to a heating pipe in Hellberg's cabin. Well, you better pay for that. But the homeowner told the station it could have been much worse. Yeah, it could have been much worse. It could have just plowed right through your bedroom while you were very, very heavily sleeping off that hangover. Here's another quote from Johan. "If the ship had hit the rocky cliff right next to it, it would have lifted up and hit the house hard. It wasn't many meters off, I'll tell you that." He's very calm about this ship just rolling up into his backyard. Luckily, none of the 16 crew members were injured in this incident, the cause of which is still being investigated by Norwegian police. They just don't know what's going on. It's booze, fellas. Booze. Hello? Or, I mean, maybe you can blame it on the sea traffic controllers. Do they have those? Sea traffic? Like they have air traffic controllers, like the ones in Newark Airport that can't seem to do their job, and the planes are just crashing and all kinds of bad stuff is happening. They actually can't afford to hire, competent air traffic controllers over there. Not the only airport in the U.S., by the way. This seems to be a trend. But maybe there's sea traffic controllers as well that I've never heard of, that I don't know about, and maybe they're not doing their job. Maybe there was budget cuts in the Norwegian sea traffic controller departments. Did Elon Musk have any involvement in their finances? Because if that's the case, we may be looking at a shortage. All right, now let's jump over to a fella named Bente Hedlund, the CEO of this shipping company that owns this Salton cargo ship. He told the media that the same ship ran aground twice before, once in 2023 in Hadsel and once in 2024 in Alsand. Did I say those places correctly? Probably not. Not important. The point here is this ship just keeps running aground, and I think you ought to investigate your drivers, sir. This isn't okay. You can't have these giant ships. Like, I'm looking at a photo of it. It's a huge ship, and it's just like pointing to this man's cabin along the shore. This isn't okay. You're lucky in this instance that Johan is so cool about it. I mean, ordinarily, someone would make a real stink, and then you're going to have to pay fines, pay for damages Maybe even you can be charged a docking fee for quote unquote docking in Johann's garden. The article ends by saying emergency services are expected to use a tugboat to refloat the container ship. And there were no injuries or oil spills, thankfully. Oh, so maybe there's oil on this ship. Well, that's very dangerous. You got oil ships just like floating into people's yards and whatnot, hitting buildings on the shore. This isn't okay. No, you got to get it together. Wait a minute. Get it together. See what's happening. Scientists subjected guinea pigs to Adele's music for several days, and the results are both surprising and worrying. It's the sound of science. Is this really science? Playing music for guinea pigs? This is a scientific study, not so much about guinea pigs, but more about compression. Compression, in a nutshell, is a process that reduces the dynamic range of an audio signal. This means that it makes the loudest parts less loud and the quietest parts less quiet, effectively evening out volume levels. And this can be done using free tools on the internet. I've used compression tools for my podcast for many, many years, and for music as well. But in this particular study, they were looking to figure out if compression is your best friend after all, or does it damage your ears in ways that uncompressed music does not. And so that's where the guinea pigs come into play. Literal guinea pigs. And these poor guinea pigs were subjected to what I would describe as the utmost torture. And that is the very sad, depressing music of the artist known as Adele. Let's keep reading and find out if the guinea pigs killed themselves. Because that's what Adele's music makes me want to do. Just although maybe the guinea pigs just got on Zoloft. Let's figure out what happened. Did they get very depressed and not leave their bed like rat people? The guinea pigs are acting like rats all of a sudden. Don't want to leave the bed. Now, for the sake of science, the guinea pigs were split into two groups. One group of guinea pigs listened to Adele's 2015 single "I Miss You" in an uncompressed format, while the others were endlessly fed a compressed version of "I Miss You," with both groups listening to the track at the same perceived volume level of 102 decibels. And if that sounds like a lot, it's because it is. It's actually just below Britain's health and safety executives' recommended maximum average for live music. Now, in sum, the result of the tests were that all guinea pigs received some damage to their inner ear because of the volume of the Adele music, but the group that listened to the compressed version had endured more lasting damage to the middle ear's stapedius muscle. And this is a muscle that protects the inner ear from loud noises. It's actually the smallest skeletal muscle in the body. Look at we're learning on Weird AF News. In addition, it says that the animals who had listened to the uncompressed Adele music made a full recovery within a day, with their hearing and performance of the stapedius muscle returning to normal, whereas the compressed version, they didn't bounce back so quickly. So I guess they're saying that compressed music is more damaging to the ears. Let me scan here. Let me see if there was some other outcomes in the study that they didn't foresee. Oh, yes, it says here, one of the guinea pigs was quoted afterwards saying, "Not sure who Adele is, but someone may have broken up with her in the past." Another guinea pig is quoted as saying, "Wow, up until I heard that song, I didn't know what it was like to actually want to jump off a building." And another subject said, "If I ever have to hear that song again, I hope it's underwater while I'm drowning." Wow, so some harsh reactions from the subjects regarding Adele's music, but understandable. I'm in full agreement on that. Why not play a happy song for the guinea pigs, after all? How about Mr. Jones by the Counting Crows? What's wrong with that? That's a song you can hear again and again and have a happy state of mind in general. Well, at least we learned something here about compressed versus uncompressed music. What you're going to hear mostly, if you're listening to digital music, is compressed. So sorry to inform you. So just be mindful of it and keep it on a lower volume if you can. No need to listen to crazy loud music, especially on earbuds or earphones in your ear directly. So, take care of your ears. They're the only ones you have. And unless you want to be wearing hearing aids at the age of 75, you want to preserve them if you can. Even, I would say, listening to Weird AF News. Make sure you do so at a very normal, healthy volume, all right? I want you to have healthy ears going forward so that you can continue to listen to Weird AF News every day for the rest of your life. I listen to Weird AF News. It's free. Hello, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. Thank you for joining me for this Memorial Day Monday episode of the Weird AF News podcast, although you might be listening to this on Tuesday. Anyways, I hope you had a lovely holiday weekend if you happen to be living in the United States and maybe you got Monday off. So I didn't have Monday off. I did this. But, this isn't so much work. I kind of enjoy it. So even when I'm working, I don't feel like I'm really working that much. So I'm happy to do so. Happy to put out episodes even on holidays if possible. Now, I think it's about time we gave some thanks and praise to some people who have really shown some support for the Weird AF News podcast, starting with Mindy. Mindy Wickstrom just joined the Patreon, so that's pretty cool. Mindy joining the Patreon. Welcome, Mindy, and thank you so much for being so supportive and generous by joining the Patreon. Please enjoy the extra content in the Patreon. I put something in there yesterday and another item in there this morning. It was this morning. It was the video of the Wienermobile race. I put that in there in case you wanted to watch the entire thing. It was pretty exciting. It's pretty cool. Oh, I had a real exciting weekend watching the Wienermobile 500. Yeah, what'd you do? So big thanks to Mindy. And Hiker Chev bought me, listen to this, 10 coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. Look at Hiker Chev, or Chev. Probably short. Is it short for Chevy? Anyways, Hiker Chev bought 10 coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. How amazing is that? And the hiker wrote me a message. Hi, Jonesy. Thanks for bringing the chuckles. You are a constant bright light in this dark despair of current world events. No matter what's going on, you always manage to brighten my day, Jonesy, so I tip my hat to you, sir, and convey my deepest thanks and appreciation for all you do. Hello from Sovereign Canada. Isn't that sweet? Another supporter and loyal listener from Canada. I have so many, and I'm so grateful for my Canadian listeners. I'm looking forward to the day that you'll be conjoined with the U.S. as the 51st state. So, wow, we're going to be more than just neighbors pretty soon, guys. We're going to be brothers in arms. You're going to be helping us make America great again, and I can't wait. Is it great yet, guys? Is it great? Anyways, I love my Canadian listeners, my fans up there. So supportive and great sense of humor, by the way. I haven't been up to Canada in quite some time, so I need to get up there eventually. I'm on the West Coast, so Vancouver makes sense for me, I think. And I heard it's a real beautiful place up there with a very thriving comedy scene, so I'm going to plan a trip to Vancouver at some point. If you happen to be in Vancouver, please reach out to me and let me know what I should look into, what I should do. I'll start studying now. And then, let me know if you got a spare bedroom I can crash in. My email is funnyjones@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram @funnyjones. And lastly, if you would like to support the show like these wonderful listeners have decided to do, make me smile, showing your love and support for Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast recorded inside a closet. Please go to weirdafnews.com where you can join the Patreon or buy a coffee and do all of that. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. It's been a pleasure serving you, and good luck with your life, man.